Hello everyone, and in today's video we'll be adding levers into our interaction system and our blueprint hierarchy, making it so that we can use these levers to interact with different things in our levels. Okay, so before we get started, we're going to need to do is I've made a change to our master interact where I've replaced our root with a capsule collision, and it's not for this video, it's for the next video. But now we need our root to actually be something that can trace collision. But it's going to be good for any kind of interactable you make that doesn't have an actual object attached to it. So do this first. Just drag it over the old root. I would not recommend deleting the old root because when I did it, it crashed. You're more than welcome to try it, but when I did it, I got a crash. So I've just left it in and called it the old root. And then so now we need to make our lever. So the first thing we need to do, as usual, is make a child of our master interact. Call it BP_lever. And we'll open it up. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is get all of our physical models in there. And we're actually going to make use of this old root because, as I'm going to show you, if we start throwing some stack meshes in, let's call this the base. Type in lever. Oh, it's called stand. Yeah, as you can see, I've made these with the box brushes in with the UE5 editor tools, and they're not the most perfect tools, so a lot of them are off center. So we're going to use this root as kind of a reference. Although I've already made this before, so I already have all the relevant locational data. So we want -92 on the X. We want 107 on the Y. And then we want to rotate it by 90 on the X. There we go. And that's the perfect location. But yeah, usually what I do there with this is just keep using this as a reference of how close we are actually to the root. Although I think I will move it up a little bit. And back. I think that more lines up with our collision. Right, and then so that's our base. We want to add a cylinder. Call this our handle. Want to scale it down to 0.1 on only our X and Y. I'm going to move this up. And then there, just a little bit. And then there should be a wood material for us to use. And then we're just going to add a sphere for the top of the lever. There we go. Get our platform material. And then maybe we'll lock this and divide it by 2. Oh no. Maybe we'll times it by 1.5. Yeah, that's a bit better. And so with this, we're going to want to be moving this handle, but not from its actual axis. So if we get our root and try and just, luckily it's quite perfectly placed already, just try and get it a bit in the middle there. We can actually attach it to the root and then see if we move our root, whatever attached to it will move with it. Which means we can set up the movement just the way we want it, because rotations can be a bit awkward when we're not using models that are our own. Alright, so going into our event graph. First thing we need to do is get our interact event. And we'll delete these. And for this, we're not doing anything complex with the, like we did last time we were moving stuff. We just want a do once. Into a flip-flop. And our timeline. Just going to call it activate lever. With a play from the start and a reverse to the end in the flip-flop. Call this our alpha, and we only want a 1 second timeline. Just set it to 1-1 at the end. And then here, just to make it a bit smoother, we'll drag select and auto. Get this down and make it a bit slower at the start. Maybe give some effect that there's some resistance to the lever when using it. Like it's actually activating some kind of mechanism. All right. Then we're going to get our old root and we're going to set our relative rotation. Just get an alert. And if we click on our old root, so now it's rotated at 0. And although maybe we want it out a bit at 30. And it can go to 120, although that's saying 149. So that's 30. Yeah, so 30 to 150. change it to 30 here as well. Okay, and so now we're just going to set it up for the next lot of things we need to do. We're going to create a branch here, because what we're going to do now is that we're going to make this lever able to interact with just normal interact children that we make, but we're also going to make a specific switch door that it can work with. So for that we need to make a variable called isDoor. So we can find out if we are interacting with a door or not. And then we also want to make a variable that is our, to find out what we're interacting with. And this is going to be attached to our master interact. Because we can make reference to any actor in our levels. So this way, if we are not interacting with a door, we just want to do our usual interact. But if we are, we're going to go into a flip-flop and we're going to set up a workflow with these levers and this door where we can set it up easily so that we can make a door available to be activated by multiple levers if we want. So for that, we're going to add a lever counter. As an integer, and all this is doing is basically giving a numeric value if the lever has been activated or not. So if we are activating the lever, I'm going to set it to 1, and because we can only do B once we've done A, we're then going to take that 1 away. So we're going to do a -1. And basically we're going to set up a new door that has a target integer. And so every time we use a lever, we're adding to a variable that will be checked. So if the variable we make for this door is 2, then 2 levers activated, we'll set it to 2 and go through and open the door. So now we actually need to make this new door. Okay, so I am making this off a failed recording. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the door that I made in that record. So we just made a child of our master door, so that's all you need to do first, and I called it our switch door. And so the variables that we made here is the levers needed, and we're going to make that editable, and the levers activated. And then we're going to make a custom event that has our levers activated inside it. So if we just go into our inputs and press plus, and you add an integer, and then, so this is what we're going to send to our door every time we activate a lever. And it will check an overall score with our next variable, levers needed. Yeah, we did go over that. So, like I said before, if we have 2 levers and they're both activated, that counter on both of them will be set to 1, they'll be added together. So each time we activate one, it'll be recorded. So when the second one gets done, it will add to it. We'll make sure it's true. If it is, we open. But then, say the score goes down to 0 and the door needs to close, indicating that we must have already opened it, we will open the door again, because it will go through that flip-flop that we made in the master door, which is B, and every time it goes through B, we close the door. So that's what we do there. So we made it so that we can add multiple levers to open a door, but we've also made it that if we undo that, it will close the door. Although now looking back at this, I don't think it needs to equal 0. I think it just needs to be oh, it's just less. Yeah, if our activated levers are less than the levers that are needed to open it, and the door needs to be closed, then yeah, right, brilliant. And so that's all that we need here. Set this up. So if we go back into our lever, to actually get this is door working, we're going to need this interacting with. And we're going to try and cast it to that door that we made. Oh, I don't think we can do it directly from this, so just right click. So there we go. So this cast basically works as a branch. So if the thing we want our lever to interact with is this door, it's going to go true. And so if it does go true, we're going to set the is door to true. And then if not, we're just going to proceed as normal, which would fire, which means, yeah, down here, this would fire as false and we'd get our interact. All right, now that should be everything that we need. Quickly just take this shortest path. Oh, and we need to make our interacting with editable. Although we're getting some kind of issue here, which we shouldn't be. Well, we might have to delete this and then recreate it. Well, we'll just ignore that for a second. I'll go back and try and fix that. Although it should not be breaking. But yeah, so now with our switch door, we want to call on that switch event plug it into here on both sides, get our level counter variable, and activate it. Okay, yeah, so I was accidentally using a out-of-date blueprint that I have in my project that you won't have on yours. So when you do it, that won't happen at all. Yeah, as you can see, just replug that in. Oh, brilliant. Right, so now we should be able to get our lever. Throw him in our world, and then before we do anything, it won't work until we get this interacting with in our default. Click the eyedropper, and then click on our switch door, which I've placed here. So now you can see it's closed. If we interact with it, you can see it's opening. And now just to quickly show it working with any interact, we'll cast it to that child. And if you can see in the top, it's just printed I am child 1 like we wanted it to. All right, there we go. And then just quickly, I just realized we need a sequence plugged into our reset, which I'm sure most of you probably picked up on. But yeah, right now, should be able to use activate and deactivate this lever, and it can interact with any interactable in our blueprint hierarchy. Right, and with that, I will see you next time.